Ice Drift is back, and you can see here this is just a team that they had in the preview video. I tested some stuff. This account does not have Furious built. I will test Furious on my alt tomorrow. So for now, we can say this is just an early team. If you do have Furious built, you can try using him in place of Chloe. With Chloe not really being a unit that most people should have built, I have her in Grace of Growth myself. What is she doing? You can just use Furious here, and also if you don't have Alexa but you do have Chloe, you could do Furious Chloe together as well, and that should probably work fine. Ice is a little bit annoying because we have such low flexibility on our options. But first, for the sets, pick good sets is all you really have to say. Speed, Destruction, HP, Counter, Immunity, Torrent, and if you need protection, you can put protection as well. Pretty much anything works fine here. These are the ones that I'm going for now. And then for the devices, so the first run starts at 25% HP. So you can pretty much just instantly kill the boss with the standard team and it'll be fine. And you hit RC2 and you have 3 to pick from. Best one is this one, I think. You could use this one if you're struggling to sustain. I think most of the time you die, it's from unhealable not getting cleansed if anything, but maybe a little bit of extra healing after the unhealable finally gets cleansed might save some of your units, so you could try this one too. I'll be using the attack one for now. Once we hit RC8, I think the best one to get is this one. Greater attack buff to Chloe at the start of her turn, especially with the boss stripping so much. This will be very, very good because she'll always have a buff every single time she moves. Then after that, I like this one. After the Soul Weaver uses an extra attack, activates a basic attack as an extra attack. So this is just because we have Fenne, it'll give us one more hit, and it'll give us extra healing. Should be really nice. Then RC21 is where stuff gets a little bit wonky because we need to test it. This one says grants immunity at the start of battle to all allies, and then it says unique effect, which means it's the little gold buff. But is this just a one-turn immunity buff, or is it permanent? If it's permanent, I think it's weird because there's also this one that gives immunity undispellable to the foremost hero, Soul Weaver hero, at the start of battle, so surely one of this isn't just a better version of this. I'd expect this one is maybe one turn, and this one is permanent, but we'll see. I also think this one unlocks Fenne Frontline really well, because then you can use this one with this one, and this one that gives Penrose and also gives her more attack. And then this one, when the foremost hero attacks, damage dealt increases proportional to the number of debuffs inflicted on the target. So I'm pretty sure they're setting up some sort of unit in the front line here. I could be wrong, but we'll see. For now, it's just this one, RC8, take the Warrior one, RC15, take the Soul Weaver one, and then RC21, we'll see. So here are the units. Like I said, I don't have Furious on this account. I'll test it with my alt tomorrow. But for now, this is the team we're using. Elena first up, you want 220 effect resistance. This is just so she can resist the silence, and she doesn't need much more stats besides that, so you can just hit this, 200 speed, the rest into bulk, and you should be good. You definitely want the S2E that spells 1 debuff from all allies when using her S2, because we really want to do a lot of cleansing, which is also why I have Doctor's Bag. Doctor's Bag removes 1 debuff from all allies and also recovers some HP. The cooldown on this is pretty long, so it'll only happen every other S2 when Elena uses her it'll only happen every other S2, but it's still an extra cleanse, so it's useful. And then for her skill enhances, you probably want the max S2 just to reduce the amount of damage that you take. And then I have her S3 for the -1 turn cooldown as well. Next up is Fenne. So for Fenne, I'm missing her S3 molas. I'll get this when I get her Friendship 10 rather. So I'm missing a little bit of damage in my runs. I don't think her S2 is very useful for this rift, so I didn't bother enhancing it. For her artifact, I gave her Special Strawberry Cake. This is just a basic damage dealt increase artifact. You could use Symbol, you could use Victorious Flag. Plenty of options here. And then for her sets, I gave her Speed, Destruction. I'm probably going to look more into shifting her gear around later, maybe go into Destruction and Crit, but this is just with spare gear for now, so nothing too special. For her stats, you want to give her as much HP as possible, because with the way her damage scales based on the amount of HP lost from injury, and her base attack is so horrendously low that giving her more HP just increases her damage more than giving her attack goal. So we can give her attack and crit damage, and this will be fine. The speed is something that needs to be tested more. I'm testing her with 200 speed. I'll try some lower speeds later, and we'll see how it goes. But for now, this works fine for me. Next up, we're just going to stay here because it's all ice heroes, is Chloe. For Chloe, her EE, you want the one that gives her defense break when using her S3, and if they have Magic Nail, it ignores F-Res. Artifact, also a damage boosting artifact. Warriors have a little bit more options compared to Soul Weavers, so you should put your Generalist one on your Fenne probably. And then for her speed, I have her this fast because all of my other units are really fast. If you slow down all of your units, you can run your Chloe slower. I think the important thing is you just want to make sure that your Chloe gets to S3 before the boss fills up on buffs. So that way you can actually end your death break. She doesn't need any F because her Magic Nail and this both ignore F-Res. So the rest of your stats can go into damage after meeting your speed requirement. Like I said, the speed requirement I will be testing more later on. So here, I just have her in Grace of Growth. But these are all damage things, and since she's not that great of a unit, Grace of Growth is a great spot to have her in. Lastly, Alexa. Alexa, I just have all of her stuff max because she's a 3-star. For her runes, because oops, wrong place. For her runes, because CR push is pretty much nullified, none of these really matter. I also don't even have her skills on, so the only stuff that really matters is this also doesn't matter because Elena is AoE. So it's pretty much just these 4 that only really do anything. So you should probably pick up these 4 for her runes. Like this one, also this one. This one increases the, no, this is her S2, never mind. It's just these 4. Yeah, her runes kind of just all suck. Stats though, I have her like this, Rage, Crit. Remember, pen set doesn't work in Rift. We have Alexa's Basket. This is a little bit RNG, but the odds of you getting a buff are really, really high. And we can use this to try and maximize the chance that we have a buff when using our S1. Besides that, it's just full damage, and the speed is also something I'm still testing. And we will see where it ends up later. So, I think Furious is really good for this potentially, even if his damage is really bad. He can apply target, and this time target's actually good. Last Rift target was really bad, but this Rift target is good because 15 is bigger than 10% damage from the buff, and it's harder to maintain the debuffs this time compared to last time. Last time it was 30, so target actively lowered your damage. But Furious is something I'll be testing tomorrow. But for now, we can use this, and we can take a look at the run. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about pets. So if you have 2 Rift pets, then obviously use the one with Rift energy until you max out your Rift controller level. Otherwise, if you're still building your Rift pet, I think go for the Reforged Mat one. If you're like a new player and you're only farming Rift, it can be annoying to get Reforged Mats, so definitely get this one. I'll calculate the exact value tomorrow or sometime when I have time. I'll calculate the exact value of this, but at a glance, I don't think this is worth as much as the Reforged Mat one. So if you're only able to get one or you're still working towards it, I would aim for Reforged Mats, equipment, and Lesser Charm. But since I have both, I will be using this one.
주세요. 저릿할 정도의 사랑을. 까불지 마. 충분히 내리리. 아플 거예요. 파파만 믿을게요. 모두가 영태야 만세. 안아줘요. 숨이 급하지 만큼. 느껴져요. 파파의 사랑이. 구원의 빛이요. 갈게요. 단단히 휘감아드릴게요. 선택받은 자들이여, 별의 축복을. 안아줘요. 숨이 급하지 만큼. 아파요. 사랑해요. 함께해요. 영원히.
Okay, so this run is just short of 50%, and I have gone under 50% before. So clearly there's a little bit of variance, and let's talk about the sources of RNG, as well as potential improvements to the builds of these units. So first up, the first source of RNG is if Fenne resists the strip at the very start of the fight, she'll have Invincible and she won't be able to injure herself, and this will reduce her damage throughout the fight. The next source of RNG is Zayon is just pumping out burns, and he is spamming burns all the time. And this just means that because Elena's S1 only cleanses 2 units, she can't get debuffed, but these 3 can. And if there's really bad RNG on who gets cleansed, who gets debuffed, who doesn't 15% the burns, sometimes you'll just end up with a bunch of burns on one unit, and an unhealable won't get cleansed, and somebody, generally Alexa, because she's the squishiest unit, will die. I do have a run here where Alexa died. I still have 1 turn left in the screenshot because I yielded out. But Fenne is taking her turn again, so she would chunk out a good amount of the boss's HP bar with her S1 into extra attack. And you can see, it was still pretty much the same, it was just really close to 50%. I have a run here where I actually missed the first death break with Chloe, so I did this whole run with no death break. Alexa didn't die in this run, but we still got pretty close to 50%. It says 10 at the very top, but if you look really closely, there's just a tiniest sliver of HP bar left. So this is pretty much at 9, and Fenne's about to use her S3, which is going to do a ton of damage. So I'd say this run is definitely a consistent 3-shot. It's just, with a few more RC, definitely a RC8. We'll be at a 2-shot, hopefully a consistent 2-shot with Chloe having Gab every single turn. Another source of RNG, of course, is the Alexa's Basket procs. Because the basket procs not only affect our damage, they'll also affect how many of the arcs we're able to strip. Stripping more arcs means less damage taken, which means that Alexa might be able to survive a bit easier. It also means that we deal a bit more damage, so it decreases everybody's damage, not just Alexa. Potential improvements to the build. The most unrealistic one, I'm pretty sure Fenne does way more damage than Alexa, but nobody has HP Rage Gear. But I think Fenne on Rage Gear would be really, really good. And there's the whole thing I mentioned, the speed tuning. So I have my Elena at 200 speed because I want to make sure that her S2 is proccing at the right turns. But I'm going to try testing her at like different intervals of 10 or 15 speed maybe, because there should be a range of speed for her where she has, like, you know, the best possible speed where she always gets her F2 off, but she takes the minimal amount of turns, because at the very end there, she took a turn and she did nothing. If somebody else, I actually don't remember if somebody was close to taking a turn, but let's just say somebody else was able to take a turn, we could have maybe gotten under 50%. And then of course, with all the speed tunings on the other units, we could min-max who gets which turns and who gets more turns and who gets less, because Chloe's not doing too much damage besides debuffs. If we could slow down Chloe a bit more, and we still want Chloe to land Death Break before Fenne, but maybe we just slow down everybody. If we just slow down everybody, we could get higher damage, and if we can still survive, that could be what pushes us into higher damage thresholds. So that is it for this early rendition of the Rift Guide, because I know people want to start farming Rift fast. So hopefully this helps people who are trying to get into Rift early. The big thing is just it's really close to 50%. In terms of difficulty, I would say that this is definitely harder than the Earth Rift, but also way easier than the Fire Rift, because the Fire Rift was just really not fun. It definitely seems like they found a middle ground between Earth and Fire Rift, because Earth Rift was honestly a little bit too easy, if anything.